So if other people come in, they can join in, whatever, and they can start typing and chatting with me, so it's all good. So let's take a deep breath. So and I want to start out doing what I'm calling a self-ritual, or a self-honoring. So place your hands on Gasho if you're in some place that you can do. I mean, I don't know if you're driving or anything, but if you're not, go ahead and place your hands on Gasho, and you can say this out loud or in your head. I honor the healer that I am in these moments. So, I honor the healer that I am in these moments. Take another deep breath. Okay. So, since we're live streaming for a challenge about self-reiki, I would like to do about 3 minutes of self-reiki before we actually get into the stuff that we're going to be talking about. So I've got a little timer so we don't go over. So we're just going to do about 3 minutes of self-reiki. So however you get started, go on and start. I've got, if you're interested, it's the Zazen meditation timer on my Android, if you want to know what app I'm using. So about 3 minutes of Reiki, and when the timer's up, we'll start. About a minute left. Okay. Since you guys are watching me, if you want to continue on with your self-reiki, that is totally cool. That'd be awesome. It's totally up to you. I'm turning off my sound so I don't get interrupted. There we go. I got a new phone and I'm still trying to figure it all out. So today I've got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about. It's for what we talked about. Okay, I'm like, I just got this weird notification. Facebook says, congrats, this is your most watched live video yet. I'm like, okay. So anyways, I've got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about. It's relevant for today's challenge and for tomorrow's challenge. So if you see me look at a weird spot, I've got my notes posted on the shelf. So I'm just double checking myself so I don't forget what I'm talking about. So today's challenge, if you've done it already, and I think you both have, I asked you what challenges you have, distractions, and excuses that keep you from doing self-reiki, daily self-reiki. And a couple people put my favorite answer, there are no distractions, they just need to commit. And to me, that was acknowledgement that they know that they're just making excuses and that they're the only one that can commit to the Reiki. So it also reminded me of the Yoda quote, do or do not, there is no try. So I will probably be referring back to that throughout, but I may not. So the whole thing with the do or do not, there is no try, is you're either doing or you're not doing, because if you're trying, you're still doing. So if you are working with your Reiki practice and you're trying to do your practice, yes, Yoda's awesome. And by trying, you're actually doing, because you're setting aside a couple of minutes a day and doing your Reiki. That's still doing. That's doing your Reiki. You don't have to do these long, elaborate rituals to have a good self-Reiki practice. So remember, do or do not, there is no try. But also, I had something really cool I wanted to say. Okay, not really cool, but okay. So I was like, what did I write there? So I can't read my own handwriting sometimes. So just remember, even 2 seconds of practice is still practice. You don't need to beat yourself up for not going and laying in bed or sitting in a chair and doing a big long invocation, prayer, ritual. I don't know how other people were taught, because I was taught it was called an invocation, or a prayer. So it's however you get started is how I normally say it, because like some people are just like Reiki on, hands on, Reiki on, that's good to go. Some people go into this big elaborate spiel that they have memorized and they feel like they can't do Reiki without that. So that is definitely going to hinder someone from going and doing daily Reiki if they feel like they have to do this big, long prayer that they had to memorize in class. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but we'll get into that. So I really want to talk first about setting time and prioritizing your Reiki, because I've already gotten, I was taught Reiki on or Reiki flow. Yes, Taylor, that's a good one too. So yeah, because I've got sidetracked. So the first things I want to talk about really is setting time and prioritizing Reiki. So when I'm talking about setting time, I'm talking about making the time to do Reiki. If that means putting it in a calendar, putting it in your phone, putting it in a planner, like Mr. Planner Dude, then do that, and then don't cancel on yourself. That's one of the big things, because you could be like all gun-ho. I was like, I got all this awesome time and my stuff, I'm going to do self-Reiki, and then you look at it and like, psh, I ain't going to do that. I'm not worth it. So when you're setting time, you need to look at your lifestyle and see how you function. If setting time for like an hour and a half in the morning at 5 a.m. sounds good, but you dread the idea, don't make that your time. If you need like 5 minutes after lunch, set that as your Reiki time. You don't have to do anything that feels like work. You can just do 2 minutes between clients. You can do whatever comes to mind. It's going to be fine, because as long as you're mindful and you go on and do it, it doesn't matter if you do it daily or not, because you're being mindful at that moment. So you're like, oh, I could do Reiki right now, and it's fine. It's fine is apparently the word of the day, phrase of the day. So anyways, look at your life and see what's going to work for you. So you'll see tomorrow that my example is, if you decide on 5 a.m. for a 90-minute session, I'm like, I don't even get up before noon most times. But there are people that think in shoulds, and they're like, I should have a 90-minute every day before everything else happens, so I have to do this in the morning. I get up for work at 7, so I have to do this at 5, so I have time to do a shower and coffee. So they decide that 5 a.m. for 90 minutes is going to be their time. But then they forget that if they already don't have a practice going on now, they're going to have to remember to wake up at 5 a.m. so they can do their Reiki, and that can be really overwhelming. So make it easy for you. So, like I said, if you need 5 minutes after lunch, if you can commit to 5 minutes after lunch every day, that would be awesome. Every other day, that's awesome too. Every 3 days. My personal thing is, like, as long as you're doing something at least 2 times a week, daily is always going to be better, but you need to start by building up first. So start at the beginning. So, do we have any questions? I'm going to move on to the next thing because I'm a little bit rambly there. So, I'll give a couple of seconds, because there is a lag sometimes when there's chatting. So, good to go. Alright, so prioritizing your Reiki. You're going to have to, again, look at your life. If you feel like you're busy all the time, you need to analyze the busy. Are you busy, or are you busy work? Like, are you busy with actual, like, work stuff? Like, you're at a 9 to 5 and you have all this work stuff you have to get done, and then you have to go home, cook dinner for your family, take care of the kids and all that stuff. Are you busy like that, or are you busy work like, oh, I've got a website, I'm fiddle farting around in the background, I've got to do this, I got to do that, and none of it's really relevant to your life. So, hi, whoever just came in. So, you need to look at your life and really kind of analyze it to see where your priorities are right now and what you can rearrange and move so that you can have a Reiki practice if you feel like you actually do have the time. So I'm going to suggest to take an inventory of your time for a week and see where all your time is going. It sounds very, very daunting. It's like, OMG, watch myself for a week. So what you're really doing is just writing out how many hours you're doing something. Like, if you're reading for 3 hours in the morning, write down reading. If you're at work, probably write down each little thing that you're doing at work, just so you can see what's going on. Because you may have some time at work that you can do some self-reiki for. But look at your time. So just watch, and this is all going to come together tomorrow, because you're going to be setting your time. You're going to look at your life and see how all this is going to work out. so, so, notice if you're busy or just feel busy and not really doing a lot. Because I know I get caught up in that, and when I do, I have to just stop, take a breath, maybe get up and walk around sometimes, because I do a lot of back end stuff with Reiki Playground and my other couple websites that I've got, and you do get lost in just doing kind of random menial work sometimes. So watch that if you're worried about never having any time. So I don't want to miss what I got, so I'm checking my notes. Okay, so sometimes we are busy and we forget, and it's an honest mistake. So it's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up. That's one of the good things about Reiki, is that the whole principles, especially with the whole today only, just for today, that is about being mindful. So if you forget, you can always be like, oh, hey, I forgot, and be like, you know what, I'm going to do it now. So just take time and do it in that moment, if you can, if it's safe, and just don't beat yourself up. Because if you beat yourself up and feel bad about your Reiki practice, what's the point of even having one? That doesn't make sense. So you always want to feel good about your Reiki practice. So right now, decide to not feel guilty about whether you are practicing or not practicing. Because, like Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try. There says nothing about being guilty in there either. So don't be guilty if you don't practice. Just start when you're ready. So, let's talk about post-it notes. Because some people are like, well, oh, I don't remember the name. Someone had posted about putting post-it notes everywhere and on the dog's collar and everything. And honestly, that may not work. Because if you're seeing stuff constantly everywhere, you may just start tuning it out. So if you're putting post-it notes on your wall and everything, if it works for you, good. Keep it going. But if you're like, why do I keep forgetting? I have it posted here, I have it posted here, I have it posted here. It's because you've tuned it out. It's like background noise. So try a different strategy. You can use planners. If you got a cool phone, put it in your phone. There are websites where you can email yourself. So if you think that would help, send yourself an email. But I know with me, I would ignore that, especially if it was from myself, because I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever. So you know yourself. So you know how you remember your appointments, remember how you keep your schedules. So put Reiki on that schedule, however you do your schedules, your plannings. So if it's a phone, if it's a calendar, if it's a planner, if it's text, because there's websites you can get yourself texted from, you can get emails or get something to call you, to remind you. There's all kinds of different things you can use. So find the best way for you. But you may already know the best way for you. So if you got something that works, use it. And just schedule your Reiki in there. And don't blow yourself off. Because then you just have stuff written in your planner or whatever, and it's not being done because you decided that you weren't worthy enough to take that time for self-care. You are always worthy. Okay. You are always worthy. And I went to this amazing workshop a couple years ago, and the whole thing was about self-worth. It really blew my mind, because I didn't feel like I was unworthy, but I guess sometimes you just do. And that day, I guess I did feel unworthy, and everything he said just opened up, and it helped to make my Reiki practice better. And I need to go find the post that I had written about it, because I'm like, I know it was amazing. I don't remember all the details. So I will find that post on my old blog, and I will post it as long as it's still in the Wayback Machine. Anyways, you're worth it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're worth it to have a self-care practice and to just take time for yourself, whatever that is. If it's not Reiki, that's totally fine. If you decide now or later or whatever that Reiki is totally not your thing, that's fine. Find something that works for you. You may need to do guided meditations with your Reiki. You may need to work with the chakras. You may need to work with crystals just to help make it feel like it's worth your time in the beginning. Because sometimes we're like, I don't feel better. I don't know why I'm doing this. It takes a bajillion years for any results. And it's not like that if you practice constantly. So decide what you want to do, how you want to do your time, what priorities you want to switch around and stuff. What else do I have on here? Yes. So find a solution that works for you for everything. So I've got here, if you need an accountability buddy, find one. Because that could be something that's really useful for you. If the scheduling on a calendar or a planner or a phone doesn't work, having an actual accountability partner may work. So if people are interested, you can put it on Facebook that you're looking for one, and you could find some people. I could post a thread or something if y'all are interested in finding accountability buddies. So you would just take like 10 minutes a day or however often you would want to. Be like, yo, I did my Reiki. Did you do yours? Or, oh, I'm getting ready to do my self-Reiki. Why don't you do yours too? Or have you done yours? You can talk to other people because you got to find what works for you. So I was like, there's more people. And I see little smileys and stuff. I'm like, cool. So, do we have any questions so far? I'm like, okay. So the next little thing I've got here is talking about setting space. So that kind of encompasses a lot of what we've been talking about already, because it's setting aside the time for the self-Reiki. It's thank you. It is, what do I have? Okay, it's setting the time aside, and it's also feeling worthy of taking the time, so not letting guilt get you. And it's really about taking time for yourself and your activities. I'm trying to read my words. It's making things comfortable so you want to practice. Because if you're like, the only space I have to practice is in a closet, there's no music, I don't want to do it, you're not going to want to do it. So you want to set your space so that it's someplace you want to go every day, or every other day, or however often you want to practice Reiki. And just make it cozy. Make it so that you want to go there and you want to be Reikiing yourself. You want to Reiki. And so just it can be decorations, it can be music, it can be whatever you feel is like a sacred, spacey kind of thing. So that's in tomorrow's thing. I ask you to describe what your space looks like, because I want you to envision that in your head. But I also want you to not overthink it. It can be a hammock out in the yard. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be a bed. It can be the bathroom if it's the only space that you've got that is free from like children or pets. Children or pets. It can be the bathtub. It can be whatever feels good to you. So set that space. Set your time. Prioritize your stuff. So I've got one little last bit on my notes. So, alright. So the last bit on the notes is your Reiki practice can be anything that you want it to be. It does not have to look like my practice. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's practice. It doesn't have to look like your master's practice. It can be yours. And it really should be yours. It should be designed to make you happy, feel good, and be something that you want to do. So what I mean by this, because some people don't realize they can do so much more with their Reiki practice. You can be walking in the woods and doing self-Reiki walking meditation while giving the trees Reiki as well. You can be Reikiing your pets or your children and still be receiving your self-Reiki. You don't have to be exclusively just you during your self-Reiki practice if it's not something practical for you. Because there's some people that are parents. I'm not. That's not something that's happening in this lifetime. Anyways, but they don't realize that they can take care of their child and Reiki at the same time. They can do nap time, Reiki time. They could do Reiki time, bottle time. There's some people with pets that they don't include themselves with the Reiki when they give their pets Reiki, and it's like, but you receive as you give, so while you're giving, you are receiving. So if you feel like you need to be more of a giver and just give and give and give, you're still getting self-Reiki too. It's not as good self-Reiki as if you're doing it just you, but it's still happening. You're still getting the healing benefits. So don't discount it. So your Reiki practice can be like the emotional freedom tapping. It can be with crystals. It can be with pets, children, older people, like elderly, hospice, hospitals, volunteering. Whatever looks good to you, make that your Reiki practice. So that's all my notes are. But the one thing I want you to take out of this, if nothing else, do not be guilty for not doing self-Reiki. Because that kind of defeats the purpose. So, and another thing, you are worthy of whatever it is you desire. You're worthy to be healed. That sounded weird. You're worthy to be healed. You're worthy to take time for yourself. You just have to prioritize and make yourself do it sometimes. Sometimes you have to begrudgingly do your Reiki practice until it feels good. But if you don't want to, don't feel guilty about it. So that is what I have. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. So little short about Ignite Your Reiki Passion. I've got a live stream on that coming on Friday. So if you're interested in Ignite Your Reiki Passion, that is a mouthful. Okay. We are doing a live stream in that group, Ignite Your Reiki Passion, on creating a self-care toolkit for when you're angry. And I'm like, I have some of my toolkit with me here because I'm super big into crystals. And so I'm like, I got my crystals, my blue lace agate friends, I got soda light, and rose quartz, because Happy Valentine's Day. You gotta have rose quartz on Happy Valentine's Day. So anyways, Friday I'm doing a live stream in that group about anger, because this whole month is all about anger. Next month is about worry, and it's funny because I do a discussion group in real life. I put that because it sounds weird. So Taylor says, definitely have to get out of the feeling guilty for not doing self-reiki. Big problem. Yes, the guilt. It can get to some people, and you don't want to feel guilty about your practice, or lack of practice either, because that makes you not want to do it either, because it's like, well, I keep forgetting about it, might as well give up. Don't do that to yourself. You're totally worth it, and it's good. So never feel guilty of whether doing or not doing your practice. So, alright. So, back to what I was saying. So I run in real life. I say it like that because I run stuff online, and then I do stuff in the real world at a shop. So I do a discussion group, a Reiki discussion group in real life, and it was yesterday. And yesterday's theme was worry, which is what we're talking about next month, and in Ignite Your Reiki Passion. And next month in the discussion group in real life is talking about anger. So I'm like, I got it switched around, and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? And then it's like, why are you worried about it? So I got lots of new tips to share for worry for next month. And I've got lots of good tips for anger for this month. So if you think you want to expand your Reiki horizons and check out what's inside Ignite Your Reiki Passion, if you've got questions, Facebook message me. I'll get back to you. It is $30 a month, and you can come and go as you please. It's bi-monthly. Well, it's monthly. So, and you can cancel anytime. So, it's really, really small right now. I think there's 3 of us in there. Well, 4 of us all together. And I would love to expand it out to about 20 people right now. And I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, the deadline I have right now is March 17th, but I'm feeling like I'm going to move it up to March 1st. So if you're feeling a pull to that, definitely hop in there. It is IgniteYourReikiPassion.com, and you'll get something about it tomorrow. Not a whole bunch. So, but yeah, Friday is the live stream in that group. If you're interested, it's awesome. Or the group is awesome. I love the people in there. I love the people here too. So, because I'm rambling, I'm going to go on and hop off here and